Okay, so like your girl just broke her tripod, so if the footage is wonky, it's not my fault. We're here, guys, after so long, so long. Yeah, we're back with my wrap up, and we had a good month. I didn't plan to read as many books as I did. The original goal every month is to read 5 or more because I have a book coming out this summer, which follow the Instagram. I have a book coming out this summer, and so I've been trying to focus more on that than actually reading. I've been focused more on writing than reading, and so yeah, I actually got to do a good amount of books this month. I did more than what than I expected. I did 7 books in the month of March, which I'm like super proud of myself for. So we have our list in my book journal here. It got a little chaotic through the middle of the month because my markers were just like not working at all, but we're gonna just go ahead and start. So the first book that I read in the month of March, let me pull it out real quick. Oh no, why did I do this? Why do I have it set up like this? Okay, was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I rated this one 3 stars. It was okay, but I feel like near the end it got boring, and it also got really repetitive. I was just like, okay, so we're dragging it out now. Like, we're genuinely dragging it out. I see like where the hype for this book comes from, but I also don't see it. Like, there was some parts where I was just like, okay, we can calm down. Like, this is not as big of a deal as we're all making it. And, you know, there'd be some points where some of the characters would be extremely hypocritical, and I hate when that happens. There's a difference between when a character is intentionally hypocritical and like the characters call those characters out for it, but I could tell like it was unintentional, but they were hypocritical and they were not called out for it. Like, there was some characters that were like, don't do this, and they would go do the thing that they said they were not going to go do. And like, come on now, this is the most hypocrisy thing I've ever seen in my life, and it wasn't like, I feel like it was intended, but at the same time it was not, and nobody called out these characters for it, and it always just gets on my nerves to like the uttermost extent. And so this book was an overall 3 stars for me. This is also my first time ever reading a historical fiction, because I don't like any like historical fiction, so this is my first ever time reading like one that I actually commit to, because usually if you catch me reading historical fiction, it's not because I want to. So this is the first time I actually like chose historical fiction to read, and this was the book, and it's what I started my month out with. Now this month I feel like I broke out of my reading slump because I got a lot of books down. So the second book I read was Wings of Fire by T.T. Sutherland, and I did not like this book at all. I rated it 1 star. It took me 7 months to complete this book, and when a book ever takes me that long, it's usually just because I'm in a reading slump. That book is the reason it's putting me in a reading slump, or I'm butter reading it with somebody. Because sometimes like certain people, when you better read, like they cannot read it every single second of the day like I can, because, you know, people have schedules, they have lives. So there's some books that I've been reading for over a year, and I'm only halfway through because I'm better reading it with somebody else who doesn't have a lot of time on their hands to read, which I'm literally fine with because the story itself is actually interesting. And I was not in a slump before I started this book. This book is what caused the slump. I did not enjoy it one bit. This book was just, it made me feel like I was going crazy. It was so repetitive, and, you know, there was some things in there that I just was like, what? There were some things I did not agree with. And also, let's just keep in mind, this is a children's grade book, and the reason I read this was because I'm trying to get into fantasy, so I was like, maybe I can start out with something easy. You know, I can start out with something easy and whatnot. This book, for this to be a children's book, it was pretty crazy. Like, there were some things in there I was like, do children need to be traumatized this early? Because there was like a lot of violence, you know, very detailed like violence, very detailed violent scenes, and I was just like, do children need to be reading this? Like, is this what we are letting our children read? I don't know, I didn't like it at all. Definitely not something you can. I don't think I'll finish the series. I gave my book away, which is why I don't have a physical copy. I gave it away to my brother because he actually likes the series. He owns most of the graphic novels, and I was like, here, try the actual novel itself, because that's the one I chose, because I remember when I was like a few years ago, when I was trying to get back into reading, I tried to read the graphic novels, but the graphic novels just didn't catch my attention that much, so I gave up on them and gave them all to him, and he loves them now, and he's hooked on the series. And so yeah, he reads the graphic novels. But yeah, so the next book that I read this month was Legendary by Stephanie Garber. I gave this book 4 stars, and I think this is kind of what broke me out of my slump, because like I said, when I started reading the book like 6-7 months ago, that's what put me in my slump, and I've been in it ever since. But Legendary, I think this is kind of what like kind of broke me out of it. I rated it 4 stars. It was enjoyable. I have a video where I read this on camera. It was trying to see how many pages I can read in a week video, and I read this one on camera, and I believe I finished it on camera too. So yeah, this one was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. It was definitely a very interesting sequel with a very interesting end, considering like after the first book ended, and I feel like there's a certain character in there that was our main, Scarlet, who's our main character in the first book. I'm starting to like not like her now in the second book that much, but it's okay. We're gonna see in finale what happens, because I feel like Caraval was Scarlet's like villain arc, because they was out here traumatizing this girl, and this one is narrated by her younger sister named Tella, which there's only one thing I don't like about like this certain copy. I don't know if it's like in the other copies. I'm pretty sure it's just this one that I ordered off Amazon, because I go to Barnes & Noble and there's like a different, you know, version with like the shimmers and everything, and it's like it's cut right here for like the synopsis. But this certain copy I have, I'm not gonna like go get the other copy unless I feel the need to, but this certain copy that I have, it doesn't have the synopsis anywhere. Like, if this was in a bookstore, how are you supposed to know what this is about? Like, I know, like, oh, you're supposed to read this first book first. What if I come into a bookstore like, oh my goodness, this is the second book in the series, and I go to read the synopsis, and oh, synopsis is non-existent. So how do I know if I'm gonna like it? I have to go home and see the synopsis online, and probably by that time I don't even want the book anymore, because I had to do all that extra stuff. But that doesn't have anything to do with the actual book itself, like the actual pages itself. And it's just something I picked up on in the synopsis. Told you guys this footage is gonna be really wonky, because yeah. So I just feel like that's just something that I really want to just point out real quick. But this book had a really crazy ending. This book was almost about to be a 3 stars, because it genuinely kind of had me like, okay, like, are we supposed to care about these certain things, and this and this and that? And you know, Scarlet, Tella, she had some views at the beginning of the book where I was just like, this person's doing this to help protect your sister, and you're gonna blackmail this person so that way you can go tell this person and potentially put her life in risk. Like, some of her morals were just like she was not in the right headspace for a lot of the stuff that was going on, that she was doing and she was saying to people. So I just feel like, you know, that kind of was what made it 3 stars, but that ending is what brought it to 4 stars, and I cannot wait to start finale. The 4th book that I read this month was Shatter Me by 𝙎𝙤𝙘𝙞𝙖𝙡. I buddied at this one with my best friend, Aaron Warner. That's his name, right? Aaron Warner. I don't see the hype. He's a little creepy. And I'm pretty sure what he did was assault. At the end of the book, I'm pretty sure what he did to Juliet was assault. Poor Julie. She's going through a lot, most definitely. And Adam, I also don't see the hype. He's boring and sketchy, if you ask me. I don't like either of the love of interest. You know, the only person that I'm actually really vibing with right now is Kenji. So I rated this one 3 stars, because like I said, none of the actual love interests were like standing out to me. I was kind of just like, why are these people love interests again? I don't get it. But Kenji was like literally the only person that was just like I was actually vibing with. Juliet, at the beginning of this book, we are in a mental asylum, whatever. We're in an asylum of some sort, right? It's just reestablishment, whatever it is that she's trapped in. And this guy comes in and he steals your bed, and you're telling me that instead of like fighting him, laying a single finger on his shoulder and by instinct to get your bed back, you're just like, yeah, you can have it. Girl, no, get your bed back. get your bed back. Also, this is not a spoiler. It's like literally in the first 10 chapters of the book where this happens. I believe it's like the 4th chapter, so it's not spoiling anything. I just feel like that's just something I was just like, oh my goodness, Juliet just, that's all it takes. It takes a pinky and he's gone. Got it? Okay. So the 5th book that I read this month was, pretty sure I started this one on my how many pages can I read in a week challenge as well, which was 𝙎𝙤𝙘𝙞𝙖𝙡 by 𝙎𝙤𝙘𝙞𝙖𝙡. I rated this one 3 stars. You see this, how it's so chunky? This, a little bit of this. The book could have been this long, right? But then we also had the middle. The middle where a lot of the information we got was pointless. The book could have been this long, and we would have got the same amount of information, the same feel. You know, there was a lot of points where I was just like, is all the information that we're receiving extremely necessary? Is it? Because it doesn't feel necessary. It kind of feels like we're doing filler pages. That way we can get, so we can get more page counts. But that's just me. That's literally just me. And I did not know that this author wrote 𝙎𝙤𝙘𝙞𝙖, the series, because I started another series that this author has on Webtoon, which this is actually a Webtoon original series. Started on Webtoon, which is like where you can read mangas and comics for free and stuff like that, and like graphic novels for free on a website. Because when I say for free, it's not like pirating. It's like these authors specifically make it for Webtoon, and some of them get published into books, some of them don't. But I did not know. I started reading a series by her that's called Marionetta on Webtoon, and then I came across this because of my sister. She picked up on 𝙎𝙤𝙘𝙀 one day at the Barnes and Noble, and she picked this up and she brought it home, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I read it and I read it and I read it and I read it, and I was just like, this name looks familiar. This art style also looks extremely familiar. And lo and behold, I checked Webtoon, and this is her name, and this is her art style, and everything like that. I was like, that's just so cool. The 6th book that I read this month was something that quite literally had me in shock. A total state of shock. 5 stars. Chloe Walsh, please enter the room with Binding 13. This cover is hideous. I did buy the UK cover from Waterstones, and I swear, all those people who are like, well, you buy multiple copies of books because of the different covers from different areas, are you like mad or something? You promote overconsumption? I'm a collector. Okay, I bedazzle books, I collect signed copies, I collect special editions. There's a difference, okay? I have special editions coming in of Powerless. What? Powerless? I have special editions coming in. I have the paperback of Powerless coming in. I have a whole other copy of Good Girls Guide to Murder coming in from the UK because it has the TV cover on it. There'll be a full book haul when I because most of the stuff is like books I already own, but there's different covers and there's different features. And I was like, it's not overconsumption, it's collection. There's a difference. Overconsumption is those people who go out and buy like the plastic stuff and do literally nothing with it. They just use it. It's one and done. These, I can reread anytime I want. I can buddy read these with somebody close to me because I have 2 copies. Do you ever just think about that? So, Binding 13, I hate this cover. It's atrocious. Why does the US get some of the most horrible covers? Okay, I will say, for certain romance books, the UK, I feel like we have a one-up on y'all for the UK covers, because I've seen some of Emily Henry's books in the UK, and the covers, I don't like the covers in the UK for Emily Henry books. But like when it comes to like other books, like the Caraval covers, or like the A Curse for True Love series covers, or like what else? You guys freaking get Powerless in paperback, or the Binding 13 covers, or what else do I have up here that's like a really good cover? I've seen the like covers from like other places that have like Sky Shade and stuff and like Light Lark. I'm just like, The US gets some of the most crappiest covers because people in the US just don't care. I hate this cover. What does this have to do with the story? There's a cover out there where there's a football, or yeah, a football, because I know it's like they use the same ball, I think, but it's just a different sport. There's a football and it has the colors coming off of it, like the gray smoke coming off of it. Why can we not have that? Why do we have this tie-dye stuff that makes no sense? Okay, 𝙎𝙤𝙘𝙞𝙖𝙡 by 𝙎Walsh. Let's stop raving about the cover. It was a gorgeous story. I loved it so much. Honestly, she put her heart and soul into this book. It was so emotional. It was so great. 5 stars most definitely, and I do recommend you read this. I will say, whenever I hear about people reading about this book, I don't hear the trigger warnings for this. Y'all, I put this in my book review, and let me just check real quick. Okay, yes, it is in the beginning. I'm just gonna read what's on the author's note because this has the trigger warnings. 𝙎𝙬𝙘𝙞𝙖𝙡 is the first installment of the Boys of Tillman series and the first book for Johnny and Shannon. Some scenes in this book may be very upsetting to readers. Therefore, reader discretion is advised because of its sexual content, violence, mature themes, triggers, and bad language. Also, it isn't mentioned up here, but alcohol abuse and child abuse, child loss, stuff like that. It is not suitable for readers age. It's suitable for readers age 16 plus. It is based in the the rest of this is just like where it takes place. But yeah, there's trigger warnings. You need to be aware of that before you read this book. I never hear anybody ever talk about them. I always let you guys know about trigger warnings. I don't ever hear people talk about trigger warnings for 𝙎𝙬𝙘𝙞𝙖𝙡. I just hear how it's such a cute, emotional story and it leaves people crying. Nobody ever tells you why. Nobody ever tells you what goes on in the story. No, it's always just, it's such a cute story. It's such a cute book. People talk about Magnolia Parks, talking about like, nobody ever tells you that it's toxic and stuff like this. Everybody says Magnolia Parks has that toxic trope, cheating trope, whatever it is. I never hear anybody talk about 𝙎𝙬𝙘𝙞𝙖𝙡. And being that 𝙎𝙬𝙘𝙞𝙖𝙡 is one of the most popular YA romance books, I feel like there needs to be more, you know, because when I walked into this book, I was like, whoa, nobody's ever told me about this before. Nobody has mentioned the things that are mentioned in this book that take place that we get to witness in the book. We have to witness a lot of these things and scenes. Nobody ever talks about it, so I just feel like I need to tell you guys about it. And the last book I read this month is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, and you guys will be getting a reading vlog on this. I just finished it an hour ago. That should tell you all you need to know, because this is going to come out before the reading vlog because it's shorter and I want to get some content for you guys for the month of April because I'm going to be at author events during the month of April. So 4 stars. No, 3 stars. 3 stars. Did we really need 600 pages for this, Rebecca? Let's see. We could have cut out this much, Rebecca, and had 400 pages, and we would have been fine. We would have got the same amount of information, and there would have been like the same craziness. Okay, I just feel like there was some parts where I was just like, especially near the beginning we could have just cut out altogether. But I know why we couldn't. But I feel like there was some parts where she just threw it in there like, oh yeah, I'm eating cereal for breakfast. Like obviously it's not what was put in there, but it kind of felt like we were just walking through the daily routine. I feel like, you know, yeah, but there was also major time skips, which you're probably like, you're just coming about there like being too much on one thing. But there's the thing, it would be random stuff that just didn't matter, but there'll also be random time skips where it's just like, oh, I just found like this crazy piece of information. By the way, it's Monday, chapter, let's say 2. Oh guys, it's Saturday. How did we get from Sunday to Saturday? Monday to Saturday, and we just found this big piece of information on Monday. So you're just telling me you haven't done anything about the information we just found out on Monday until you got to Saturday so you could see Zayn? Okay, great. You know, so I see where people come from when they say it's a filler book, but I still felt like it was overall a great book, especially near the end, like where all the action was. But once again, why is all the action in the back? It's kind of like what I said about #murder funding by Gretchen McNeil. The 90% of the book was preparing for the action, and the 5% was the romance, and the other 5% was like the last 2 chapters where there was actually action stuff going on. Make it make sense, please. But that is it. That's everything that I read in the month of March. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram because I am an author. Make sure you guys go join me in the Facebook club because this month we'll be reading Fearless by Lauren Roberts when it releases. Thank you all so much for watching. Man out kisses, Maria, and goodbye, queens.